derecho desviado. Michel Salgado, el remate de Michel Salgado, la parada de Víctor Valdés. Bueno, pues Michel. Samuel que se la quería regalar a Ronaldinho, llegó.
What a humiliation. Unhappiness around the Bernabeu tonight, a lot of it directed at Gavin Harris. Came here as a hero, he's being called a donkey tonight.
Ronaldinho con mucho campo por delante, espera Sergio Ramos. Ronaldinho se va Sergio, Ronaldinho ante Iker, Ronaldinho el 0-3. El 0-3. Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho seals it with a brilliant third.
Y señoras y señores, escuchen, el Bernabéu aplaude.
Sí, aplaudiendo prácticamente todo el Bernabéu.
Boy, do they need some inspiration from somewhere.
And now it's Muñez, and we haven't seen too much of him today. Trying a give and go here with Alan Shearer. What a great run by Muñez! Unbelievable. Newcastle's newest and youngest player gives the fans a brand new song to sing. He's got support to his right. Stephen Carr. A free header! And a goal! It's a dream start for Newcastle.
Okay.
And what did you want to do about the rose petal?
Oh, bloody time. Well, can we have the red rose petals, but in that container?
Well, I've got to get back to work.
Hey, babe.
Okay.
So-
Hello.
Hey.
Just no us.
That's it. Listen, darling, I've got to go.
I know.
I will see you there.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Sam, it's 10 to 5. The meeting with the wedding planner was at 4.
Sorry, babe. I lost track of time.
Come on, we're supposed to do this stuff together.
Yeah, but what do I know about the color of the flowers? And as long as you show up, I'll be happy.
You Latin boys are so bloody cheeky. Do you know that?
Are you gonna show up?
I might, if you're lucky. Oh no, go and have a shower, you stink.
It's time for a toast, I think. Here's to your new home and may all your ups and downs be in the bedroom.
Ma'am!
You might want to be careful there, though, Shancy. Look where it got me.
You should be so lucky I let you get near me.
How about extra hot vindaloo?
No.
Excuse me, have a bit of consideration. I'm the one who has to sleep with him.
Yes.
It sounds good.
Have a bit of consideration.
Hello, stranger.
Hello.
What happened? Did you lose my number or something?
That's a good time. We're just ordering.
No. Can I have a quick word?
Yeah, sure.
In private.
Anyway, we'll leave the tea now.
Excuse us.
Chapati.
Oh, my God.
I've been on the phone for hours.
Are they serious?
You want to meet us? Still no okay.
And you've still got 2 more years with Newcastle. And you're not leaving Newcastle. The fans will go mad. You're the best player they've got.
They haven't offered me anything. It's just a meeting.
So, when are they coming to meet us?
They're not. I'm meeting them in Japan.
The biggest football club on the planet. 9 times European champions, 29 Spanish league titles, 12 Spanish cups, 1 Super Cup. They come to Tokyo every summer, the whole squad. Beckham, Raul, Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos, Zidane, Harris, Nunez.
Thank you for coming. Santi, ¿cómo estás?
Señor, ¿cómo está?
Bienvenido a este mítico club. Te voy a presentar a nuestro entrenador.
From the mirror.
Pleased to meet you, sir.
Sorry you had to come so fast.
That's fine.
We won Santiago. We can make this work. But we have to act quickly. The transfer window closes tomorrow at midnight.
I know.
Okay.
Let's vamos.
Come on.
You shouldn't think about the money, you know.
You're gonna hate Madrid. They all speak bloody Spanish. How's it going, Avino?
Good, man.
Haven't said yes yet.
What are you, mad? You're 10%. You could have your chest waxed, some blonde highlights, you'd be sorted. It's a big decision, man. Russ and I just got this great new house. You're gonna tell me you came halfway around the world for a night of karaoke? No one says no to Real Madrid, you nutter. No, but I don't want to spend a season on the bench like Owen. He's one of the best in the world. I'd go crazy. Uben auf and meneer.
It's Dutch. Gentlemen. Herr van der Merwe, can I get you a drink?
Thank you. You're not giving any career advice, are you?
No, he's just pretending he's got a decision to make.
I have some advice. First, you listen to your heart. Then you listen to your head. And then your wife will tell you what to do.
You're okay, Mr. Ives. Sorry, Doctor.
And Michael Owen acknowledges the Newcastle fans as they welcome him to St. James's Park. The last-minute exchange deal with Real Madrid will see Santiago Munez move to Real Madrid on a 2-year contract.
Excuse me, you know where Ross is?
Yeah, just turn to the left.
Thank you.
Oh, there's that git. Upsetting my lovely Rosalind. You're in the bad books now, you know.
Hey, you save your breath, Mr. Ives.
Baby.
I don't want to talk to you.
Baby, I tried to
Not
call
here.
you.
You should have asked for more time.
I
shouldn't you?
tried. Ross, hey, listen. I love you. I love you and I want to marry you. None of that changes, but right now, before we have kids and responsibilities, we can
You
go
stop playing with the bed.
I'm sorry.
We can go places, do things, just you and me.
I'm not sure I want to live in Spain. I mean, son, I love Newcastle.
I love it too. This town has been so good to me. If I hadn't come here, I wouldn't have found the most important thing in my life. You.
Hey, he's got a point there, you know.
Yeah, and what about our wedding and our lovely new house and my job? I love my job.
I know, but...
I've got exams at Easter.
You can come and see me on the days off. How's that? I'll fly back when I can. Baby, I can't walk away from this chance. This is my life. And I want you there. With me.
Can't even speak Spanish.
I'll teach you.
I'm not eating paella.
Hey. Come here. Will you do us a favor? When you see that Gavin Harris, tell him he's shite.
I love you.
Muy buenos días a todos y muchas gracias por vuestra presencia en este entrañable acto como es la presentación de uno de los grandes jugadores que hay en el mundo.
Mucha suerte en el equipo, felicidades y esperamos mucho de ti. Muchas gracias.
Fans turned up to the Bernabeu today to welcome Real's latest signing, Santiago Núñez.
United fans are still coming to terms with the loss of Santiago Núñez 2 years before the end of his original
Santiago Núñez, que ve transferit del Newcastle United de la primera división.
to Real Madrid in exchange for Michael Owen has shocked fans and
Stella lineup of Real Madrid, the Mexican-born striker, runs the risk of spending the season sitting on the bench.
Lo que habrá costado este. A mí como si desembarca el Bernabéu.
No one single player wasn't on the bench for a long time. I'm sure it's not so different from Mr. Núñez.
Well, I've always been a fan of Real Madrid. Me, my grandma, my brother. So it's like a dream come true for me to be playing in this team.
Is it true only a year ago you were a gardener?
Well, I come from a very simple background, and my story is a little bit different than most of the players in this team.
Rosa!
For me, it's a big
Rosa!
thing. It's a big responsibility, you know?
Tortillas, mujer, que es la hora del aperitivo.
I'm gonna try to be at the same level as everybody else. It's an honor to be playing with all these great players like Zidane and David, Roberto Carlos, everybody, so...
And do you think you're prepared for everything that's just about to hit you?
First day of school. Make me proud. I will, Mama.
Here's my
Carmison?
Hey. Where have you been? Trading or shopping? Oh my God.
It's for us, baby.
What, have they given you all this?
It's for us.
Ooh. Wow. Can I have one?
Sure, they're for you. Pick a color. Any color.
God, you're gonna have to score a lot of bloody goals.
I'll try.
The UEFA Champions League is back, and it's back at the Santiago Bernabeu. What a stage for Europe's top club competition.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Oh, buenas tardes.
Hey.
¿No te quedas para el juego? Te veo más tarde.
Oh my God.
Real Madrid, 9 times winners, but not now for 4 years. This is where they kick off their latest campaign. An unhappy time for Gavin Harris. He has a point to prove.
Cheers. Good luck.
The new boy Núñez, he starts from the bench. Gavin Harris, he hasn't scored for 14 games. The wait goes on.
Ahí va el lanzamiento desde la esquina de Becker. Espléndido.
Just over half an hour to go.
Again, the delivery, no finish.
Harris again trying to influence proceedings. He's having a struggle out there tonight.
One-on-one, that should have been a goal.
His game. And the crowd starting to get on the Englishman's back.
Oh yeah, look, there he is.
It's time for a new start. Does this spell the end for Gavin Harris? It's certainly a start of something new for Santiago Núñez.
Go on, Santi.
He's looking menacing. Oh dear, it's all coming to the boil. And look, Thomas Graveson's brought his handbag. Beckham's corner. Not cleared, only as far as Núñez. Now could this be the moment? A better start to his Real Madrid career. A last-minute goal for Santiago Núñez.
¡Otra cerveza!
¿Qué?
Venga, anda.
¿Has traído la pasta?
Rápido, no vaya a ser que no salga.
Vale. Venga. Esto para ti y esto para ti.
¿A dónde vas? ¡Ey, ey, ey!
¡Vieja!
En la cabeza. ¿Qué querías? Que te visitemos en la cárcel. Escúchame. Un paso en falso y te arruinarás la vida para siempre.
Más de lo que ya está arruinada.
Enrique, mi amor, no digas eso. Mira, ese jugador, Núñez, él no tenía nada, como vos. Míralo ahora.
Aparte de eso, ¿qué coño tiene que ver él conmigo?
Te voy a decir un secreto. Ese jugador es tu hermano.
Okay, take it easy.
Taxi!
Come on out, darling. Careful.
Oh.
Right. Are you okay?
Broke my heel.
Come on inside if I can surprise you. It is fine. Okay, that's for you. Come on in. You follow me. Come on this way. Come on. Patience. Oh, and pick her up. She can't walk.
¿Una foto? Venga, una foto, todos.
So is it always like this, or what?
Yeah, it is actually. They're all mad. Total lunatics.
Don't sound surprised.
You love it.
What, being in the press? I'll tell you what. At the end of the day, I'd much rather be out with my friends, having a nice meal, nice conversation. Okay. I mean, there's more to life than just football, do you know what I mean?
What, like computer games?
Come on, Ravina, you're the first team, man. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it pays the bills. I do love it, but I've got other interests as well. I mean, for example, wine. I've made an investment in a tasty little vineyard in France. Could be my future, you know?
I think it's corked.
No, it's Covey Aude Special Reserve.
Come on, jump on the plane with us. No.
I think the coach might notice.
The house is so empty without you.
It's only a couple of weeks.
I don't want to go.
It'll be like you never left.
I love you.
Me too.
I'll call you, okay?
Okay.
Anything you need, give me a ring.
Thank you.
Okay?
Son, I'm desperate for the toilet. The gorgeous pool.
Hello. Hey, happy birthday. Oh, you didn't do that. I've already got everything.
Oh, I won't bother next time. 29 again, are we?
Watch it.
Look, I really need a wee. Where's the toilet?
Oh, it's back here.
See you in a minute.
In that room. It's a bit of weight, I'm afraid. Hey. What do you think? Oh, man, it's not bad, is it? Different class. How can you afford it? Oh, I don't know. Barry sorts all that out. Hey, Barry! I can't afford this.
Because I get you 80 grand a week, you play.
Oh, yeah. It's because I'm on 80 grand a week. Hey, hang on, I've got something for you.
All off your pop then, treacle. Santi, what's up, man? Listen, you scored an absolute belter tonight, love. You smashed it, Bubba.
Thanks,
Yeah,
mate.
listen, hey. You think you're bringing Roz up here? This is what we call a bona fide singles party. Do you get me?
She's my fiancée. Hey, Barry! Hey, Chateau Neuf de Pape, 1982. See what you think of that?
Nice.
Come on, let's go outside.
Oh, Santi, got a little idea for you, love.
Who's that? No idea.
So how many rooms is this?
I think it's 8. We've only been in 6. See what I mean?
Sort of like a little bit weird.
No, it's just one of those tight little Euro-style bathing suits.
I don't think I'm gonna wear it, man. I mean, you can wear it.
Hey, monkey.
Hello. Where you been?
Aren't you going to introduce me to your friend?
Who, him? Jordana Garcia, Santiago Munez. She can't resist me.
I'll try. Hola, Santiago.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
¿Dolce?
De hecho, sí.
Muy buen gol, ¿eh?
Gracias. Nada más jugué 7 minutos, o sea que tampoco.
Oye, pues debes estar muy cansado.
Lovely ass. I want him. But I thought he had a girlfriend. And who cares?
Roz. Hi, darling. So great to see you.
Have you seen Santi?
Santi, yeah, I think he just popped upstairs with Gav. You look absolutely splendid.
Thank
you. A drink?
No, I'm gonna find Santi. Bye.
See you later.
See you. Oh, there you are. I've been looking for you everywhere. Hi.
Hey, Russ, this is Jordana.
Hello.
Hi. He was just telling me about your lovely wedding. You're a very lucky girl.
Not as lucky as he is.
True.
Can we go in? It's a bit cold.
Yeah, sure.
Bueno, entonces tendrás que venir a mi programa antes que te agarren los otros canales de televisión.
Well, thanks, but I'm not into all that stuff.
Did you just say no to me? Estarás muy a gusto.
I've been cornered by Barry. Disgusting. Such a lecher's hot all over me. She walked around like without a top all night. She's a slut. I'll have her home. That was mad.
Well, Gavino sure was in his element.
What did you think of that TV girl?
TV girl? Who?
You know exactly who I mean. The one, did you just say no to me? Her, silly cow. Do you think she's hot? Don't you pause? What do you mean? You just paused. You can't say yes.
She's kind of okay. I think Gavino has a thing for her, actually.
Well, she definitely likes you.
I'm pretty irresistible. What can I do?
I don't think you're irresistible.
What?
No, I could take you or leave you.
I think I can change that.
Do you?
I think so, yeah.
Why are we here?
This is our house.
You've bought it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you haven't.
Yeah, what do you think? Come.
Sant?
Look.
Oh my God, it's massive.
Look at the size of this thing. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
Oh, wow. I like the kitchen.
It's great.
Yeah.
This house belongs to a very famous designer. What's his name? Well, they say he's gonna be the next Versace. Okay? A lot of the things inside and the furniture were designed by him. We have 7 bedrooms.
7?
Yeah. And 7 bathrooms. Cheers.
Cheers.
You like it?
Don't know what to say.
Pedro.
Quiero hablar un segundito de este nuevo llegado, el mexicano Santiago Muñez, que ahí lo vemos entrando a un restaurante muy guapo, con
También
Prada.
es un fashion victim, ¿eh? Total,
También,
total.
y lo va a ser mucho más. Acaba de llegar. Mucho.
¿Será más Prada o será más Dolce Gabbana? Tendríamos
Yo
que
le veo
hacer un
más
seguimiento.
Dolce Gabbana, ¿eh? Sí, fíjate, yo he puesto por Prada.
Sí, su novia no sé si le va a ayudar.
Miren, se ve bien linda ella, un poquito blanca, pero se ve bien bonita.
Tengo la camisa negra, hoy mi amor está de luto. Hoy tengo en el alma una pena y es por culpa de tu embrujo. Pues sé que tú ya no me quieres y eso es lo que más me hiere. Tengo la camisa negra y una pena que me duele. Mal parece que solo me quedé y fue
Hello. Buenas.
Hello, pet.
Hey, Mum, how are you?
Oh, you're fine. Ross, you're in all the magazines over here.
Am I?
Are they new shoes you're wearing?
Yes, Mum.
Were you talking to Victoria?
Mum, I don't even know her.
Oh, David, look gorgeous. Listen, look.
Yes, Mum?
I think you need to let your hair down, pet. And Ross.
What, Mum?
Or you could do with a bit of a spray tan.
Te digo con disimulo que tengo la camisa negra y debajo tengo el difunto. A enterrártelo cuando quieras, mamita. Cama, 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 baby. Te digo con disimulo que tengo la camisa negra y debajo tengo el difunto.
Darling, come on, I'm trying to study.
You can study on the plane.
I can't. I've got to get this finished.
But I'm not going to see you for another 2 weeks.
I know. Please, we watch TV or something.
Hola. ¿Puedo hablar con Rodana?
It's me, you idiot.
Oh, sorry, it didn't sound like you. What are you doing? You busy?
I'm always busy, monkey.
Well, I'm at the hotel and they're not letting us out till the match tomorrow. It's a funny farm in here. I'm locked up with a bunch of dimwits.
Well, you should feel right at home, then.
Oh, seriously. How about sneaking in? You could come up in one of them laundry baskets.
Not tonight. I eat my beauty sleep. I look awful.
Ah, Jordana, Jordana.
Oh, shut it!
Who else is there?
Becker, Guti, Ivan, Muniz.
Can you put Muñez on?
Oi, Muniz!
Hello. Hello.
You can't grow up.
Yes, Santi speaking.
Hola, Santiago, sí. La verdad es que mis productores están locos por tenerte aquí en el programa y yo le dije que como favor personal tú vendrías a darme la exclusiva.
No sé.
No tendrás miedo, ¿verdad?
Hey, open it! Hey, please!
No se preocupe de su habitación. Estará bien.
UEFA Champions League night for Real Madrid here at the Bernabeu. Whether you are in this competition, no matter how big or how small, it's vitally important.
You could pay someone to do that for you, you know. Professionals.
I like doing it, Mum. Makes the place feel like home.
His head is bound to be full of a million different things right now. You should be one of them.
I've got to be here, ma'am. They need me down the hospital. And even if I was there, I won't be allowed to see him. He's locked up in hotels with the team more than half the week.
So what's the point of having this classy house if there's only you in it, Pat? I'm serious, love. It may only be a few hundred miles to Madrid, but if you let it, it could become a world away.
Enrique, ¿te a limpiar ceniceros?
No, que estoy viendo el fútbol.
Paguen por ver la tele, te vas a forrar. Entonces levántate y curra como todo el mundo.
How long can the calls for a start be resisted by the manager?
Good goal, man. You okay?
Mr. Harris, what's going on with you? You were a disaster. Are you ever going to score another goal?
Yeah, at this moment in time, I'm a very bad player.
Hey, Coach.
Muniz.
Can I have a word?
Sure.
Well, I'm feeling great. I'm fit. I'm scoring goals. And I think I'm ready to start a full game.
When you are ready to start, Muniz, I promise you, you'll be the first to know.
Hey.
Hey, baby. You're not gonna believe what I just bought for us.
Go on.
Guess. Come on.
I don't know, son.
Come on, come on.
I'm not really in the mood for games.
Lamborghini. White. Convertible. Spider. Different class. Russ?
Lester Ives died this morning. I was gonna phone you just to have someone to talk to, but I didn't want to bring you down.
I'm sorry, baby.
I've got to go.
Do you think Muñez is ready for a full game?
I think it's too early.
Maybe you should think again.
¿Qué te pasa, güey? ¿Qué no ves que casi te mató?
Me llamo Enrique, soy tu hermano.
¿Qué?
Mi madre se casó con tu padre, Hernán Muñez, en México.
I've got the client screaming down my throat. I don't know what I'm going to say to them. Mr. Muniz, it's going to be making, sir.
Do you mind?
So we're going to go straight through to the studio just here.
How long is this gonna take?
It shouldn't be too long, I promise you, sir. We'll go straight through.
Okay, rolling.
104, take 27.
And action.
And that's why I go for total tofu every time. The superfood for the super sub. Yeah!
Right, Captain?
Great, that was great. Okay. Let's do it one more time then, Santiago.
Did you do that? Well, it says here you did, Phil. Santiago!
Hey, man, this shit is not on, man. These people are making a fool out of me, man.
Who's son?
This commercial. I mean, David Beckham gets Gillette, and I get freaking tofu.
You've got to start somewhere, Santiago. It's good money, after all. I don't think you should complain.
No, it's disgusting. Why don't you try eating it for 5 hours straight? I mean, give me a break, man, please.
Okay, well, look, I'll have a...
You know what? I'm better than this.
Jesus.
Santiago.
Well, for the first time this season, the coach Ruud van der Merwe has a real decision to make. He's got Santi Muñez and Gavin Harris. And Gavin certainly appears to have been on his holidays this season.
Well, I think so. I mean, you're talking about £5 million they paid for the boy, and at the moment, he doesn't look like he's worth a fiver to me.
Hey.
Surprise!
I'm glad to see you.
Cheeky git, he just ran in front of the car. There you go. Are you all right? You look a bit in shock. Here? Come on, I'll be all right. Eat your dinner. Well, did he say anything else?
No, nothing. I mean, when he threw that at me, I was so freaked I just drove off. I couldn't breathe.
Well, it might not be a bad thing. I mean, you've always talked about wanting to find her.
I know, but right now I cannot deal with it. In my head, she was gone forever.
She does really look like you.
See?
Santiago, where did you get this?
Is it her, Grandma?
When you went to Spain, I worried this might happen.
Wait, you knew?
I couldn't tell you, Santiago. I didn't want to cause you pain.
My God, Grandma, she's my mother and you didn't tell me? What gave you the right?
That woman left all of us. She just walked away. Left your father in pieces.
Yes, but it's my choice. She's my mother.
She abandoned you, Santiago. How can you forgive her for that?
Okay, Grandma, let me decide, please.
Very, very big night for that young man. Santiago Muñez, for the first time since his move from Newcastle, starts a game for Real Madrid. Illustrious company alongside him, to say the least. Just look at those names. They tend to be feisty, these encounters between these two, Real Madrid and Valencia. It's Beckham forward early on. He's picked out Muñez. Raúl alongside him, but Muñez goes for goal and glory himself.
Wanted the glory, but I don't think Raúl's too happy. Perhaps he wanted that one squared.
Raúl! Ramos back to clear off the line. David Beckham now. Just about hooked away by Valencia, under a little bit of pressure here. But now they can counter. Picked up by Vicente, who is taken down by Santi Muñez. Now Muñez could be in real trouble here. He is, it's a red card. Muñez sent off on his first start for Real Madrid.
Well, it's unbelievable, isn't it? I think that's a man who's a little bit rusty. It was a late challenge. He gave the referee nowhere to go. Vicente was really clipped down. Oh, and it's a sad day for Muñez.
From dreams to nightmares for Santi Muñez. His first start, and now his first early bath. Off comes Zinedine Zidane, and it's Gavin Harris who will come on. Plenty of tackles flying in out there, and that's Kuti. Canizares, what is he doing?
Not just with his hair either. It's not a typical Real Madrid game, is it? The early sending off has really set the tone for the match.
And another effort blocked away by Casillas, with the follow-up just wide.
10 men, I think it's going to be very hard work for Real Madrid. They have to get their passing game going.
Becker with the free kick. He's not quite found his range tonight. David Beckham with the cross. Here's Gavin Harris. Madrid lead 1-0. The drought is over.
Well, that's a goal poacher's goal, isn't it? It's a great cross by Becker. But Harris is in there in the 6-yard area, doing what he does best, and stoops to conquer.
Scraping home in the end, that late goal from Gavin Harris, but Santiago Muñoz's moment of madness very nearly cost them the game. A red card that he could have no excuse about, Tony. Yeah, it was a poor foul, poor challenge, and reckless, and the referee had no option, he had to go.
Gaby, este fue tu primer gol en 17 partidos. ¿Cómo te sientes?
Es un bonito día. Estoy muy contento. Voy a beber con muchas chicas. Buenas noches.
Hola, bolita de dinamita.
Hola.
Ya, mira, yo tengo la solución para todos tus problemas.
¿Ah, sí?
Tequila, por favor. Y te necesito mañana mismo en mi programa, mientras sigas jugando con el Madrid.
No te vas a dar por vencida, ¿verdad?
¿Tú qué crees? ¿Otro? Otro, por favor. Tú empiezas, ¿eh? Yo no empecé.
¿Quieres que te lleve?
No, gracias. Bye.
Bye.
Sant, darling. Hey. Sweetheart, wake up.
Hey.
Hey. Come on, sleepyhead. Darling. Look, I brought you breakfast. Do you want some juice? You've been asleep for ages. Here. Sant.
Why didn't you wake me up?
I tried earlier, but you were dead to the world.
You should have tried harder. I told you to wake me up, Ross.
I've just told you I tried.
You stupid or something? I'm gonna miss the team playing. Thank you.
I'm not stupid, and I'm not a bloody alarm clock.
Hi. Turn time, first class.
Let's see what he can do.
Yes, miss.
No, I got it. Excuse me, sorry. Sorry about the peanuts.
Esta sí que ha sido buena, Santi. El entrenador se disculpa por no venir a recibirte, pero sé que te está esperando con muchas ganas.
Welcome to Norway.
Not such a great day, son.
Hey.
I got a call from the boss. There's going to be repercussions, hefty fine, probably.
Nil, and he had me sitting on my freezing ass for 90 minutes.
He's the coach, son. He calls the shots. He's sending you a message. Perhaps you should listen.
Don't patronize me, Glenn. I mean, I'm doing commercials for goddamn Tough, and you're fixing cars in Newcastle.
I'm always there for you, son.
Well, I need someone full-time in Madrid to support me off the pitch.
Perhaps this is where I get off, eh? It's been a great ride, Santi. It's been a privilege. You know, your plate's getting so full so fast, you should watch what falls off the edge.
Careful!
Pero abre ya. Estamos haciendo pis. Tío, que me hago. Venga, anda. Ya, venga, ya está. Kevin. Venga, majo.
Girls, I'm gonna have to take you home.
Okay.
Where do you live?
I'm coming.
Any room with Dean?
Oh, you know?
You're a don.
So how long are you gonna need to stay?
Quite a while, I'd imagine.
As long as you need, man.
The vineyard was a scam. Barry, not a very good agent.
Hey, Santi! Where's the milk?
Would like 1 lump or 2 with his tea?
I don't know why she's so angry.
Well, you can understand. I mean, she's up there all alone in that big house. You're out with dark-haired Spanish beauties.
Yeah, but I'm not out with dark-haired Spanish beauties.
No, I'm just saying. No, she can only imagine the worst, can't she?
Yeah. But I've never given her any reason to imagine the worst.
Yeah, I know. But you're an international Latin sex symbol. She knows how many girls have got your photo on the wall.
But that's part of the job. She could try to understand. I don't know. I'll talk to her during the Christmas break. Ow! Ah!
Oh, stop mucking about. You Latinos, you're always diving.
I can't. It really hurts, man.
What, are you serious?
Yeah. It really hurts. Ah. Ow.
Don't worry about it, man. I'm sure it's nothing.
You're not to set foot outside of this facility or your home.
I have travel plans for the Christmas break, Coach.
You're going nowhere. Do we have an understanding? I hope so.
understand. What's the point of them keeping you there? I mean, you can't even do any training.
Because they pay me, Roz. They call the shots. I cannot change that, okay?
I don't believe this. It's not fair. You promised.
Well, why didn't you come here?
No, after all those times I've been to Madrid, you've not come home once, Santa. You've not set foot in Newcastle. It's just another bloody excuse, and you can't even call Glenn because you've sacked him. Well, I'm getting sick of it.
Baby, it's out of my hands. I'm sorry.
No, I don't want to speak to you right now, okay?
You're there, Rose Pet. Have a nice glass of champagne.
It's a shame Santi couldn't be here.
Probably party with them Galacticos in Spain. Look at the side of this bad boy.
No, pero no.
¿Por qué
¿Desde cuándo?
A ver si adivinan lo que es esto. No es fácil, ¿eh? No. Es el auténtico, hombre. Es de la Champions, ¿eh?
Oh, I miss you too, friend. You watching The Great Escape? What, Steve McQueen? Oh no, he's a fish. Okay. Good kiss. Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We can't get to the phone at the moment, but if you leave a message, we'll call you back.
Hey, it's me. I can't believe we're not together on New Year's Eve. Remember the party last year? Jamie told me that was the night little Keanu was conceived. I don't know how he can remember, but... Hey, listen, I love you. I miss you. And... Well, Happy New Year.
Hey, Saint.
I've heard tell that there's a tradition in Spain which involves having a grape for every. Hang on, don't be greedy. Having a grape for every single don when it goes on the. Oh, you want some as well? Okay. Oh dear, what's it gonna sound like? So you have one grape for every don when it goes, and then so we've got 4 minutes. 4, 3, 2, 1.
What?
Didn't say anything.
No, but you were looking at me like that, with a look.
No, I wasn't.
Nothing happened.
Okay.
Nothing happened.
¿Crees que me parezco?
Sí, sí, ¿eh? Ahora lo veo, ¿eh?
¿De verdad?
Su cara y su culo.
¡Ey! ¡No!
¿Pero qué hace, niña?
¡No! ¡Me vi roto la ventana! ¡Enrique! ¡No te lo pienso decir a tu madre!
Estúpida.
Yo te tiré el balón y no hubo más juego luego, ya no se devolvió. Yo te tiré el balón.
¿Quieres que te lleve?
Y no hubo más juego luego, ya nunca más volvió.
¿Pone aquí dónde vives?
Todo recto.
¡Ey, ey, ey, ey!
¿Quién es ella?
Mi novia, güey. Deja.
¡Qué guapas!
No me los vayas a romper, ¿eh? ¿Te gusta el fútbol?
Sí.
Oye, cuéntame de tu mamá. ¿Qué dice? ¿Qué hace o qué?
Bueno, es una pesada, pero yo me mantengo alejado.
Deja, hombre. Deja.
Yeah. Hello.
Oye, señor Van der Wey, que si me hace usted una prueba...
Espérate, que le estás marcando al coach. Espérate. ¿Me quieres meter en una bronca? ¿Cuál es tu problema, eh?
Pues que no tengo nada, tío. Vivo en la puta miseria y mis padres se pasan todo el día trabajando para poder salvar el negocio. Pero tengo un hermano que en el fondo es un capullo, que a mí no me sirve de nada. ¿Qué tiene la mochila?
Nada, mis cosas.
¿De dónde sacaste eso?
Me lo regaló mi hermano.
Sabes que no podemos formar parte de su vida.
Pero es que es mi hermano. ¿Por qué tengo que mantenerlo oculto?
¿Por qué en esta casa vos haces esto que yo digo? No tenía que haberte lo dicho. Olvídate de él. No sos parte de su mundo.
Si tú me has visto crecer, y observa mi vaivén, bailarín de claque, con flow que arrastro yo los pies, un privilegio hermano, si tú me has visto crecer.
decided to keep you until Santi's fit, have they?
Oh, piss off, you nonce.
Santi, you giving up that little nurse for Jordana? What did you say? What did you say? That curry Mexican temper of yours, are you?
Come on, leave it.
Get?
Hey, BTT, why are you calling me?
¿Quién, yo?
You called me 3 times.
Salgado, sal afuera y trae tu par de pibas, que estoy en la Lamborghini blanco.
Sí, ¿qué pasó?
Marco, tiempo. ¿La Chávez?
Acércate,
Una
acércate.
¡Pelota deportiva!
Camino.
¡Hey! ¡Hey! ¡Enrique! ¡Hey! ¡Enrique! ¡Sigue ese coche!
¿Al Lamborghini?
¡Sí, sígalo!
Como las pelis.
¡Órale!
¡Voy!
Estos chorizos... No, si es mi hermano. Ah, que es su hermano. ¿Qué hace?
Al hospital.
Todo recto.
Doctora López, a la recepción. ¿Está bien? ¿Está con tiempo? Esperemos a las clientes.
Y entonces simplemente perdió usted el control.
Ya se lo dije. Sonó mi móvil y me distraje. No debí de haberlo contestado.
¿Quién es el chico que iba con usted?
El hijo de un amigo, también ya se lo había dicho.
Tranquilo.
¿Y cuánto alcohol ha dicho usted que había ingerido?
Come on! Get up! Get up! Come on! Get up! Come on!
Just gets better and better.
Nico, come on! Get up! Get up!
Venga. ¡Vamos! ¡Vámonos!
Yo estoy haciendo mi trabajo. ¿Eh? ¿Comprende? I'm just doing my job. Write that down, yeah?
Hello? Hey, I'm sorry for calling so late.
What's up?
Well, I'm in a little bit of trouble here. Actually, I really messed up this time.
Why, what have you done?
I hit a photographer. They've arrested me.
Where are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm not your agent anymore, Santiago, remember?
I know. I don't deserve this, man. I really don't. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Don't apologise to me. Save it for those that need it. You're not a kid anymore. You're a grown man. You've earned a lot of praise on the pitch. It's time to earn some respect in the real world where it matters. Okay, I'm not coming out. You're on your own.
Por favor.
Roz? Mm-hmm? Did you know about this?
About what?
It's everywhere.
Hey. How could you? I mean, you didn't even have the wit to do it in private. You had to go and flaunt it in front of the whole world.
What are you talking about?
You're in all the magazines, son, with that girl.
Magazines? What girl?
Is she why you couldn't come home at Christmas, is she? How long's it been going on?
No, you're getting it all wrong. The press twists all that stuff.
It's here in front of me. I can see exactly what you've been doing. Stop lying.
I'm not lying.
Well, if that's the type of girl you want, then you can have her. It's fine. I don't care. You've made a fool out of me, Sonny. I don't deserve this.
A 100 days have made me older since the last time that I saw your pretty face. 1,000 lives have made me colder, and I don't think I can look at this the same. And all the miles that separate.
Eso es. Aprieta fuerte. Eso es. Bien. No, pase. Otra vez. Para atrás. Uno. Eso es. Bien, bien, bien.
Please, Ross. Call me back. I need to talk to you. Okay? Bye.
And tonight, it's only you and me.
Goalless after the first leg of this Champions League semi-final back at the Stade Gerland. Now attention switches to the Bernabeu.
pace on the ball now. He's really improved his form lately. Great quick feet again.
Strong and powerful himself. Gavin Harris getting forward well. The stakes could not be higher in the Spanish capital. In comes Becker's cross. Harris could be in here. Oh, Gavin Harris! Gavin Harris is enjoying life at the moment. The Bernabeu rises to salute Gavin Harris. He's done his job out there. A player at the top of his game. And on comes Muñez.
Well, 5 minutes for the super sub. 2 months out injured. 5 minutes to show his worth.
Well, he'll be looking to get an early touch, and he does well here, Muñez, looking sharp, immediately into the action. And just wide. Muñez has opened it up for himself. And Muñez scores! Now they are heading for the final.
What a finish. Just let it run with his front foot through the back of the legs. Little flick round the corner, and a textbook finish into the far side.
It was touch and go out there tonight.
Yeah, well, they had us pinned for the first 45 minutes or so, but those Leon boys will be sick as parrots because it's a game of two halves, yeah? And it ain't over till Fat Lady sings. So that's football, innit?
Do you think that you'll play in the final, or do you think that the coach will choose Santiago instead?
Hi, Santiago. You played a fantastic game. You got Real Madrid into the final. How do you feel?
Well, I'm just glad we made it, and it's all there to play for now.
Everyone knows that you guys are buddies. They must be putting a lot of pressure on your friendship.
We're a team, but first we're friends. Thanks. Thank you.
Sí, venga.
Vale. Vale. Gracias, ¿eh? Vale. Indo. Gracias.
Oiga, disculpe. ¿Ha visto esta persona? ¿No? Gracias. Oiga, disculpe. ¿No ha visto esto?
Va, mañana lo tienes, ¿eh? Ten cuidado que viene alguien. Hasta mañana.
Hey, chavo. ¿No has visto a esta mujer?
No. Oye, ¿sabes que llevas un reloj muy guapo? A lo mejor sé dónde trabaja.
¿Puedo ayudar?
¿Está Rosa?
¡Rosa! ¡Rosa, sal un momento, por favor!
¿Qué pasa?
Lo siento, señores, vamos a cerrar.
Acabamos de pedir, hombre. ¿Qué dices, hombre? Acabamos de pedir.
Por favor. Mañana nos vemos. Vamos. Vamos, mañana nos vemos. No sé nada, mañana venimos. Hasta mañana. Mañana.
Santiago. Miguel, este es mi hijo.
¿Por qué te fuiste? ¿Por qué nos dejaste?
Es que es un poco difícil de explicar. No tenía nada que ver con ustedes.
It had everything to do with us.
I abandoned you. I was walking home late one night, and two men attacked me. One of them was your uncle. I managed to get home. I knew then that I could never tell your father what happened. And I panicked. And I ran away.
Oh, yeah, but not even a call? To explain?
Santiago, I came back 3 weeks later, and you were all gone. And no one could tell me where my family had disappeared to. And those who could, wouldn't. But it was too late. You had left Mexico. When I saw you on the television, I wanted to get in touch with you so much. But I was sure that you wished me dead.
How could you think that? I was angry. My dad was angry. He died full of anger at you, at everything, at the world. Te quería mucho.
Perdóname.
Todo va a estar bien. ¿Qué? ¿Puedo jugar?
Claro.
¿Quién es ese?
El hermano de Enrique.
What the hell are you doing?
Oh, nothing. I mean, I've been getting these rashes on my face from some sort of allergies or something, and this keeps it away.
You have a rash on your face?
Well, it's just a little irritation.
That's weird, man.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you here. I'm getting wrinkles. It's not a rash, I'm just getting wrinkles, that's all.
What?
I've got creaky legs and I'm getting wrinkles and my contract's up at the end of the season, so I just thought I should do whatever I can, do you know what I mean? Because I'm not yet sure what I'm gonna do when I'm done playing and all that.
So you're putting face back on to extend your contract?
Well, not really. I mean, kind of.
Wow. Tell me when you're done here, okay?
Yeah, okay. I'll see you later, yeah?
Yeah.
Grandma! Mail from Santi!
Oh. Mira.
Who is that?
That's your mother and stepbrother. Oh.
Boss? Listen, I'm in a meeting. I have to call you back. What is it?
Are you gonna start me in the final? Get me on the bench. Play Gavino, please. If he plays well in the final, he could still make the World Cup team for England.
If you leave a message, we'll call you back.
Hey, it's me. You know I'm not good at this, but before I go out tonight and play the biggest game of my life, I wanted to call you because I need you to hear me out. Everything has turned inside out since I came here. And all this money, I don't need it. Without you, it's nothing. I finally met my mom. It's still hard to take in. It'll take a long time, but I think it might be fine now. I'm not gonna make excuses for what I've done. All I can say is I'm just so sorry for treating you like I did and for pushing you away. I've been a total jerk. I know I took my eye off the ball, but I want to make things right. I love you. Please call me. And, well, let me know if I can see you. I just want a second chance.
Gentlemen, I'm proud of you. You made it. The Champions League final. I don't want you to forget why you're here. But I want you to play as if you have nothing to lose. Forget the money, forget the press, forget the cameras, forget everything. Enjoy.
This is it. Quite simply the biggest club game on the planet. The Champions League final. Real Madrid against Arsenal. And it's in the Bernabeu. Real Madrid feeling it's their destiny to get their name on this trophy yet again in their own backyard. And what a galaxy of stars we've got on show here today.
So many match winners on show, Bill. I just wonder which one will be the one tonight to take that trophy home. Will it be Thierry Henry, Fabregas or TJ Harper? And then you look at Real Madrid, so many fine players, Beckham, Zidane, and of course the informed Gavin Harris.
Listen to me, you watch yourself.
Well, it was the goals from Nunez and Harris which got Real Madrid to the final. But only Gavin Harris has his place in the starting lineup. Santiago Nunez on the bench. Glory within touching distance for the footballers of Arsenal and Real Madrid. We're off and underway at the Bernabeu. Gavin Harris with a neat little touch, but he's given it to Harper. Harper breaking clear for Arsenal in the first minute. Down he goes! The referee gives a penalty.
Oh, no pen. I can't believe that Harris was suckered into that. And the yellow card to boot. He lost possession to TJ Harper, tried to get it back, gave away the foul. I'm not so sure, Bill. That wasn't a pen to me.
TJ Harper will step up and take it. Looking for the dream start for Arsenal. 1-0.
Well, he may have died for the penalty and suckered Harris into it, but what a penalty. Casillas had no chance. Low down to the keeper's left, the perfect pen.
The dream final for Real Madrid has started to turn into something of a nightmare. Arsenal have hit the ground running. This is Jose Antonio Reyes for Thierry Henry.
Oh, should have scored, Thierry Henry. Good jump, should have gone back across the keeper. It was a great cross from Reyes, super shape on it. Should have been 2-0.
The stars of Real Madrid are being eclipsed by the North Londoners. Henry for Reyes. Casillas again providing a vital save for Real Madrid.
Well, he's saving the Galacticos at the moment. Casillas, the Arsenal youngsters are the ones rising to the occasion.
Forward for Arsenal again. It's wave after wave of Gunners attacked. It's Freddie Ljungberg here, and out comes Casillas. Man of the match for Real Madrid in this first half. He really has been. Real Madrid saved really by the half-time whistle. It's been a torrid first 45 minutes for them. Changes surely afoot at half-time.
Yes, go warm up. You're going on.
Is she upset? Yes! There we go! What? I'll tell you what, you little weasel!
Leave it, he's not there.
TJ made you look like an idiot.
No, boss. I know what you're
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to push forward. I'm bringing in Santi. You playing behind. Now get the hell out there and show me some cojones.
Well, here comes the change, but it's not quite as we thought. On comes Nunez, but he's going to come on to partner Gavin Harris.
I don't think Arsenal would have even preempted this one, Bill. I wonder how it's going to work between the pair. They have to strike up the understanding very quickly.
Since their Newcastle days have they lined up together. Well, it's tantalisingly close now for Arsenal, isn't it? Just 45 minutes away from winning the European Cup for the first time in their history. Fabregas finds Henry. This is a strong, purposeful, excellent run from Henry. It's majestic. And it's 2-0 to Arsenal. Where's Ronaldo? Where's Raul? Where's Gavin Harris? The big names have to start stepping up for Real Madrid. Here comes Henry again. Goodness me, he's in the mood tonight, Henry. So are his teammates. Clever back for Thierry Henry. Can he get another here, Henry? Goes to ground, it's come to Fabregas, but it's come to nothing.
Well, I just wonder when Real Madrid are going to get started, Bill. It's all Arsenal, 2-0 up, looking like they could go further ahead.
A rare Real Madrid attack. Zidane. Becker wants it out on this left-hand side. Ronaldo. All names we've seen too little of so far. Here is Ronaldo, but Lehmann got there first. Arsenal with this extraordinary run of clean sheets in this competition and this road to the final. Looks like a road that will end with glory for them. Robert Pires now.
Clear it!
Again, it's Casillas.
Again, it's Casillas, and if it wasn't for Casillas, I think it could have been a bit of a rout. Very embarrassing for Real Madrid.
Plenty of furrowed brows amongst the all-stars of Real Madrid and in this bumper crowd here at the Bernabeu. TJ Harper, who started the ball rolling for Arsenal. Cicinho forward for Real Madrid. Arsenal have it back. Alexander Hleb teed up for Thierry Henry. Real Madrid just can't get a foothold in this game. Here comes Freddie Ljungberg, he's brought down! It's going to be another penalty to Arsenal here. It is!
Well, the Real Madrid defence just can't cope with Thierry Henry. He took it down in one touch, turned, just fed in Ljungberg behind the back four, and no doubt about it, it was a foul, and it was a penalty.
Things are just getting worse and worse for Real Madrid. And if this goes in 3-0, and echoes of that Barcelona defeat last season.
Surely if TJ Harper hits the target and scores, it's all over for Real Madrid.
Saved onto the bar! Casillas does his bit for Real Madrid again. And Nunez looking for Harris, he's the furthest man upfield. Arsenal have been caught out here. Too many men committed forward. Gavin Harris on his own, going for goal. Real Madrid are back in this fight.
Extraordinary turn of events. Arsenal with the penalty, hits the bar, rebounds out to Nunez. In one fell swoop, a great ball up front to Harris. A superb dipping volley over Lehmann.
4 minutes. 4 very long minutes for Arsenal. 4 very short ones for Real Madrid. Maybe, just maybe, they can get back into this game. Becker. He's picked out Harris. Nunez wants it. Finally, they start to combine. It's Nunez. Lehmann tips it over.
What a save that was. Reflexes from Lehmann, a close-in volley from Nunez. At last, Harris and Nunez really linking up with each other. These two can play together.
The clock ticks on. Gravison looks forward for Real Madrid. Arsenal, for the first time in the match, really under pressure. Here's Cicinho. They know Arsenal, they have won a match now.
There's Gravison urging on his teammates. He knows how important it is, and the game can still be won.
Beckham's corner. Lehmann pushes clear.
He's had his problems, Lehmann, with the crosses coming in, but there he's really confident and elects to punch.
Into stoppage time we go. 2 minutes at the end of this extraordinary Champions League final. Roberto Carlos with a high lofted ball. Desperation time ready for Real Madrid. The super sub with a super goal. 2-2. Arsenal shell-shocked. The Bernabeu is rocking. They really believe they could go on and win this final now. They've scored once in stoppage time. Can they do it again? Guti. Harris with the touch on. Here comes Santiago Nunez. Brought down. Free kick, Real Madrid. If there's anyone you'd want in this situation, it's David Beckham. Cometh the moment, cometh the man. It's Beckham to win the Champions League for Real Madrid. Beckham! It's looking good! It's in! Has done it for Real Madrid! They are European champions!
The most incredible finish in a Champions League final you'd ever wish to see.
Beckham with the winning goal. Real Madrid with the winning habit. They were down and out at 2-0. They've come back into it. And it's those three who have led them to European glory.